Hello, everybody. This is Oski, and I just did a lot of playing of this new Chapter 7 Season 1 season. Not really enough so far, but I kind of wanted to come out here and just share my initial thoughts, a lot of things I've been noticing about this season, the good and the bad, as they say. So, let's get it started right now. First of all, the cosmetics is what we're going to talk about first. So, the Battle Pass is terrible in my opinion. Let's just go through the skins real quick. So then you got the surfer lion guy. In my opinion, I like the animal skins, but this one looks too much like an animal. He just looks like a furry. So it's a hard pass for me. Not really my style. Also, the other skins that I like would be like Carter Wu and kind of the black dude with the vest on or whatever, more tactical kind of movie star look. And then I really like the astronaut guy. But what kills it for me is that those skins are okay, but they're nothing really special. And then the astronaut guy, for some reason, has these weird pants that are super baggy. And I understand that they're probably like actual astronaut pants, but I don't care. In my opinion, it's not a good silhouette of a character. It's not good character design. And I think the baggy pants kind of ruin that look. But I really like his upper, half. I wish they would just have refined that a little bit more. I think he has some really cool styles. There should be color options of his, really evolved form as well, which is dumb that there isn't. But yeah, hopefully he becomes like a super cool story character. I really like his design overall. So yeah, those are about the only ones I'm looking forward to. I mean, I like Kill Bill and Back to the Future, just not that much. And then, yeah, I just like, badass designs, monsters, and animal skins, but not the ones that look too much like furries. So yeah, not my Battle Pass, but it's all right. And then you got the Battle Pass UI. We'll talk about that. I think the concept of it is really cool. I'm not sure about it right now. It feels a little bit too complicated. I wish they would just kind of go back to you level up and you get the next thing. As simple as that. I don't really know why they need to complicate it more than that. But it is nice that you're able to choose which sets you unlock first. I think that's actually a really cool thing they've done here. Because then, since I said I like the Carter Wu, I could just choose his set immediately after and skip whoever's in between them. I think there's something in between them. But yeah, other than that, though, this season, they really changed everything for the sake of it. Like, there's literally no reason to change most of the things they changed, but they did it. And I just want to remind them of the saying, if it isn't broken, don't fix it. That's the saying for a reason, okay? Because now the locker has been ruined. It's really glitchy. It shows these terrible-looking rows with, like, one person on the second row and then a bunch of empty space, and then it goes to the next one. It is fixable as long as you just, go back to outfits after switching to a different tab. But I don't know why it's like this. I don't know if it's intended or it is a glitch. Also, the emote wheel has super small icons now, and you can search things, but you can't scroll through all your emotes. There's just a whole lot of problems. Also, about the locker, they changed the way all the buttons work, so now we got to learn entirely new buttons, which is why? I don't think there was a single problem with it, except there's no button to go to the bottom of your outfit presets. That needs to be changed. You can go to the bottom of your locker and all your outfits, but not your presets. Anyway, so yeah, they need to revert it back, dude. I'm not going to get used to these entirely new buttons for the sake of it, just for them to change it again, next chapter or next season or whatever. It's just kind of annoying the way they change the locker, and it never gets any better even, though. So, yeah. And then, yeah, that's about all I have to say about cosmetics and all that sort of stuff. So, a lot of bad changes. Battle Pass is mid. That's about it. So, not really a good start here. I'm looking forward to that buff broccoli guy, though, later on. Winterfest should be good with Hatsune Miku as well. But now let's talk about the gameplay, the main event here. So, the in-game UI has also changed completely, and that's kind of making me angry. So, first of all, your teammate's name and health bar is now down at the bottom left, right next to where your health bar is, which, sounds intuitive, but now you're just going to have to get used to that, and you're going to be constantly looking up in the left corner at absolutely nothing to see what your teammate's health is at. So I just don't like them changing nothing or changing something for no reason. I really don't think it was a problem ever. Also, the stamina is now in the middle of their bar, which is not really intuitive, because if you look at your health, you should also be able to see your stamina. It should just have all the information, localized in the left corner. That makes way more sense. So yeah, that's kind of stupid. I do really appreciate the storm shrinking icon being out of the way in the upper right corner. I think that's a perfect spot for it, actually, and it felt really good in the game to see that. Also, kills the number of people left and the time zone or whatever, all that sort of stuff has been moved and stacked vertically, which is terrible. And they need to revert it. Like, seriously, it feels too cluttered up there. It feels not intuitive in the way you would read it. And it feels just too much. There's too much stacked on top of each other. And I really do not like that. So I hope they revert that. But yeah, the storm shrinking thing being up there is really good. So that's about the one good thing they did with changing all the UI. And then, now let's talk about guns and, gunplay and how that feels. So we got some really cool weapons, actually. The Red Eye AR is one of the most fun guns ever added to this game. It's amazing. Tight accuracy, fast fire rate. The sight is amazing. Solid damage. Makes me really realize how much I missed the scoped AR meta of Chapter 5. I think it's really fun right now. And then I don't know why they brought back the Enforcer. It has always sucked, and it sucks even more now because you can't put a scope on it. I'm pretty sure that's the one you can put a scope on back in Chapter 5 or something like that. But the Hollow Rush SMG is insane. It's actually busted. So good. I had a green one, and it almost carried me to a win. Or it did carry me to a win. I foresee both of these scoped weapons, the AR and this SMG, getting nerfed into the ground like ASAP. So play as much as you possibly can right now because, they're going to get heavy nerfs. The sniper is absolute booty. Like, genuinely, it's terrible. One of the worst ones they've ever added. It does less than 100 damage on body shot, and it cannot one-shot headshot. So, what is the point of it? I thought that was the point of a sniper is to, one-shot headshot somebody. So it rewards you for hitting a good shot on somebody, having good aim, or it makes people not, stand still in the open. But now they just give it like a little warning, which I just think it's dumb, in my opinion. I always had so much fun with the Reaper sniper rifle, and I think 90% of the world did, and my girlfriend absolutely loves the Reaper sniper rifle, and so I thought this was it because it has basically the same look visually. However, no, it does 0 damage and it sucks, and the bullet drop is insane. So honestly not even worth picking up in my opinion. The Zappy gun thing is pretty alright. It's good at distracting people on kind of a close range counter instead of an SMG, but I think with that new Hollow Rush SMG, you're just going to get absolutely outplayed by that thing. So I wouldn't really take it in my opinion, but I also haven't played with it that much. The one pump shotgun, like the normal, shotgun, is actually really good. Has some pretty darn decent damage. Reminds me a lot of the Havoc mixed with like a pump. And then the 2-pump one is not very good in my opinion. So now let's talk about some other gameplay features rather than just, the guns and that sort of thing, but like more unique things like drivable reboot vans. So there's a whole different like health reviving system this chapter, and I think it's pretty cool, to be honest. Being able to drive around the reboot vans and throw your teammates in there is a really unique idea. I like that. It does just mean that there's a lot more people driving around because they have 3,000 health, which is a little bit frustrating. So maybe adding an EMP that disables that function is a good idea, but having them be pretty rare because I don't like when EMPs just completely nullify cars like they did in the wrecked season. But just having a little bit of a way to counter that or nerf the HP a little bit. But so people are always rebooting all around you. Really got to keep you on your toes. It's a little bit different gameplay loop, and it's a little bit interesting. And then you also have the self-revive, of course. Makes gameplay a little bit more chaotic. Usually, though, you are able to, finish them before they pop that self-revive, especially in solos, if you're, smart enough and realize they didn't die immediately. Speaking of, eliminations, that sort of thing, they also changed how, like, getting an elimination or knock looks. In my opinion, it's just a little bit too complicated and isn't as visually obvious as it was. Like, big red text or big yellow text. That's all it should be. That's all it needs to be. They did not need to change that. So, I'm kind of upset about that. But anyway, self-revive thing, I haven't actually even used it myself, but I have thought people have been using it, and so, I don't know, I've seen some clips where it seems a little bit useful. Pair that with, like, the rolling around while you're knocked. You might be able to get some good clips or moments, especially in squads. But, it's all right. Wingsuits, they're pretty cool, form of movement. I haven't really mastered controlling them, but, they're pretty simple and effective, so, I'm not too mad about that. I do like how you're not able to fly so freely. It's pretty just like up in the air, like kind of like a broomstick, and then you glide back down. Also, I completely forgot to mention, but the katana, like the new kinetic blade, is absolutely gas. It's basically like the kinetic blade or typhoon blade or whatever you want to call it. Super fun and really cool. I don't know how many of them are on the map, but the mythic one I had was absolutely busted. I haven't even used it against a player, but for mobility, it was amazing. The air balloons should have zip lines, in my opinion, because they kind of just float around the map and very hard to actually enter usually. I think a zip line kind of hanging down, moving along with it, that you could zip up to would be really cool. The ragdoll mechanics, which actually aren't even ragdoll. I mean, sometimes I've seen some clips where it looks like it, but usually it's just an animation of them rolling down a hill. But, very similar. I think they're very interesting and hilarious, to say the least. I've seen a bunch of funny clips. They really threw me off, like, really hard right away. As you see someone go rolling downhill, it definitely makes getting your finish on somebody that's knocked really hard, and it's kind of frustrating for that reason. But, maybe we'll just have to get used to it, and we'll actually enjoy it when we're the one rolling away from somebody trying to, thirst you. And if you guys ever, like, shockwaved and been, like, killed at the same moment, it's absolutely hilarious. You go flying, end over end. It's so funny. But, yeah. It can also be very convenient or inconvenient for, like, people escaping or you escaping. And then you can now roll when you're knocked, so that makes, escaping from those thirsts also a lot easier. But I don't know if you really should be able to do this, because apparently you can also go up zip lines, drive a car, or at least get in a car. I've seen a clip of somebody driving a car, but that might have been a glitch. And this feels like, a little bit too much, bro. When I knock somebody, they should not be able to get away like that. Like, it's so frustrating knocking somebody, then you can't find them. Now that is going to happen so much more. And it's going to be insane once people really learn the tech of it. So I don't think you should be able to do that while you're knocked, to be honest. And then one of the worst changes that I am hoping was a glitch. When me and my girlfriend were playing our duo session, all the knocked people we had footprints on our screen for, like, the audio visuals. And, like, you guys might say, it was only for blind people. But, like, bro, if you're not using that now, you're just falling behind, because everybody is. But, yeah, they had footprints on the screen. I'm like, is there somebody on me? Is there a teammate here? No, it's just the knocked person rolling around. It's so dumb to get the knocked people footprints or footsteps. They should not have that. Stupid idea. It just confuses things. And then the last two sections here. Let's talk about the map. So first of all, we got some great POIs for sure. I really love Wonky Land. There's so many fun little details there. I'm really loving these trends with, like, spots that will kill you if you stand there. The Ferris wheel is super cool. You can, like, latch onto that and ride around in circles. There's a rail around it. It's just great overall. And the way they tied that in with that item shop release, great. The treehouse area is actually also really cool. Also, there's some dope underground bunker spots. That invisible goop turns you invisible, really nice. Couple, like, vault areas and tricks and secrets. Super cool. Lots of details. But I do definitely need to explore the map more to kind of get my overall feel of it. Right now, lots of mountains. Definitely feels like Chapter 6 in that regard. But overall, I feel like the terrain very much reminds me of Chapter 5 and maybe some Chapter 3 as well. So that's kind of the vibes I'm getting so far. In conclusion, I kind of want to just add this little point, is that this chapter really feels like an extra season of Chapter 5 to me, rather than like anything like a continuation of Chapter 6 or a new chapter itself. The graphics, the map, the weapons are all very much Chapter 5. There's a heavy use of scopes, realistic and more gritty graphics and gameplay features. Feels more realistic as well with, like, the ragdolling and that sort of thing. And the gameplay, feels more gritty and, realistic as well. And then there's actually a part of the map that literally gave me a whole flashback to fencing fields. It's where that box factory was in Chapter 5. I think the TMNT layer was right over there too. There's a mountain, and then fencing fields was right over the way with the orchards, and it was just, like, insane to be in that part of the map right now and look at it, and it really reminds you of that. I'll try to find a picture if I can, but yeah, that was a crazy flashback. And, good times. I miss Chapter 5. People hate on it, but I think it was actually a really good chapter. Lots of great memories over there. And, yeah, so overall, I think it's pretty darn good. I think it would be, a lot better if the Battle Pass wasn't mid, in terms of original skins, and they didn't change things that there was no reason to change, like your kills, people remaining, and the length of the zone, teammate health, location, and sprint. All those things that they moved around, as well as the locker buttons. All that stuff was just so unnecessary. I'm really not a big fan of that. But overall, I'm having fun so far. Got a super cool dub that's playing in the background. So, yeah, enjoy. I hope you've been enjoying. But, yeah, make sure to leave a comment about how you feel about this season. Make sure to leave a like, consider subscribing. It's been Oski. Peace out.